Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and today we're going to be discussing the new mining vehicle known as the ROC, or ROC, which is made by GreyCat. Now, I'm not sure if we've actually seen the official acronym for it yet. However, the current Evocati best bet is that it stands for Remote or Collector. The vehicle is in-game and is available for use right now, but there is a big however there, and it's currently only available for Evocati to use. Now, as I am an illustrious avocado, I will go ahead and share my thoughts on this and how to use it and just general impressions in the game. So first off, the best practice that I found is getting a vehicle that can fit it in and heading to a planetary outpost location and shuttling out away from the outpost to actually start your mining. Now that may make sense where you actually are going down and pulling it from a ground-based location, but there are some ships that don't actually fit it well as of the latest patches. Freelancers, for example, which I haven't tested in the patch that went live last night, are kind of a no-go because you enter the ship and it just insta-dies. Your ship takes damage, the rock just explodes. It's not great. The Cuddies do an okay job fitting it in, but the best-in-class option right now seems to be the Anvil Valkyrie, which I think can hold up to about 4 of these. Now, regardless of what you can pull, you do need a ship that will take you back to a port to sell because you need to shuttle the rock back. Because you could take an M50 out to a spot like, a research outpost or a mining outpost, you can pull it and you will be able to mine the goods. But that also means that M50 isn't going to be able to haul the rock back to a port for you to be able to sell the goods. So it's a fairly fruitless effort to do that. Now, once you actually pull it, it handles like any other ground vehicle control-wise, and as far as speed, it's probably a little bit slower than average, but it is durable, and it rock climbs pretty well. So if the goal is really to be able to get anywhere to mine anywhere, it seems like it'll do it, just maybe not real fast. I've only flipped it over once, and that was in the second ETF patch, so I'd say she's at least fairly stable on her feet, but it doesn't seem like it's perfect. The other thing to note about the rock is that it's an open air canopy. So if you're mining on like the hottest locations, you're going to need the Pembroke armor. If you're on the coldest, you'll need the Novikov. But the point is that the temperature is a factor, and you'll also need to remember that storms impact the temperature outside. So you really need to understand what the minimum and maximum temperatures are on the planets that you're actually mining on to make sure you're equipped to not die. Now, when it comes to mining utility, I find it's basically like a prospector, though a little more stable since it's on the ground, though in all fairness, it can also slide around on the ground a little bit too. Regardless, the first step is to find your rocks, and you can do that with your tab button by scanning per usual. Now, here's a nice note. In 3.10, it seems that all ships can find mineable resources now. So you can bring the ship down in a non-mining vessel like a Valkyrie, for example, and have better luck. But at least with the mining heads that we have available now, you're essentially looking for hand mineable items. So even if a ship picks it up, if it's not that standard diamond icon, you just need to move along. Now, the rock does have the ability to only really pick up stuff that it can break. So, I prefer to kind of find a location that seems to be target rich with minables surrounding me, and then go out on the rock and explore until you find the minables there. Once you do have a suitable rock, though, you have something that contains something like Dolavine, it's like for like with the Prospector. You hit the M button, which engages your mining mode, and you're going to end up seeing your mining beam equip. And then in the fracture mode, you'll scan the rock and find the breaking points to know how you need to get your power built up. Now, once you've actually broken up the rock, right-click on the mouse to switch to mining mode, from mining mode to extraction, and then you tractor beam it in. Now, the rock does have shields, so best practice would be that you use the numpad 8 to get them pointed towards the front for the most protection you can possibly get. Now, there are a few notes to share here. First off, many of the hand mineable rocks take a long time to break after you've reached that 100% fracture, so just be patient. I found that in general, the rocks kind of show up in clusters of 3 or more. So after you fracture one, start on another and get that first break primed up. Then go back to that first rock and collect the ore there, and then go back to the other one that you was already going to break on its own. The second note is that once these break, they go into like shards. It's not like ship mining where you get big chunks of rocks. You get like kind of like shards of material. And if they're not really contained in a small group, it's hard to find them to collect. What that means is that if you're mining on a steep hill, you need to be ready for that break and start extracting immediately because they will spread out as they drop down the hill. Thirdly is that these minerals can be pretty unstable, so you need to be ready to avoid an overheat and quick response, and if you need to be able to, back up, you need to move your shields, you need to turn the laser beam off, etc. Now, I haven't personally overcharged a rock yet in the rock, in the ROC, I should say. But I have seen those explosions in first-person mining, and the result's not good. The last note here is that it may not even feel like you're doing much collecting because the inventory bar takes a long time to fill up. And the reason is that you carry a lot more than you can in a first-person, mining backpack. I will say on the backside of the rock, there is a little door that opens, and it looks like there's a box that you can pull out. I think the long-term goal there is that you're supposed to be able to probably pull that out and put it on another ship, like maybe a 325 or whatever else. But right now, you can only sell your stuff from the ship at a landing pad. So that may kind of change things a little bit in the future, but it's not necessarily in place yet. Now, once you've collected as much as you want to, you need to get back to your ship, you need to get loaded up, and you need to get out of there and head back to the port that you want to sell at. It's not like any of this is Quantanium. It's not going to explode on you. Once you do get there and you land, you don't need to pull the rock out of the ship. You just leave it there and head inside. And what you're looking for is where you can sell commodities out of the admin office. It's almost kind of like a combo of different gameplay loops on the selling aspect. The immediate thought when I had this ore and tried to sell it was, I'm going to go to the refinery terminal and sell it. I'm doing mining. It makes sense to go to the mining location. But the rock wasn't listed there. When I found it at Port Alizar, it was actually at the admin desk in the trading commodity terminal. And the ROC was listed there with inventory where I selected it and sold the goods. Now, I'm assuming at somewhere like Lorville, the sale is probably going to take place at the admin office versus CBD. At New Babbage, I think you're probably looking for the admin instead of planetary services, but honestly, I'm not positive. It really could be at planetary services in the commodity terminal and not the refinery. I think you're just going to have to know it's not your standard refinery place to sell it. You need to look around a little bit. My impressions of the rock are this so far. It's a fun vehicle, but honestly, it's a little bit boring. I think what the long-term plan for the rock to be productive and I think actually bring more enjoyment to using it is for large caves to allow for this gameplay to shine, where you can actually drive in and find this stuff to mine over and over and over. And that 1% bar doesn't stay at 1%. You break a rock, it goes to 1%, then you're at 2%, then you're 3%. You spend 40 minutes mining, you're full, and then you can actually turn a decent profit because right now you don't get a lot of money from this because of the scarcity of the rocks that you're actually trying to mine. Where things stand right now, though, it's new and it's different to some degree, but it's not really anything game-changing either. I'm also going to add this to say that this isn't necessarily my should you buy video because it's not for sale yet. We don't know what the price is. We don't know what the capability. Well, I guess we kind of understand the capabilities, but we don't understand their long-term plans for it. I'm hoping we get more of that information in the release for the sale itself. But I will say that you need to see the details before you make any decisions. At the end of the day, unless you're looking for a real LTI token, ground vehicle IRL money to in-game cost is the lowest value in the game. I'm assuming that this is probably going to cost somewhere, and this is a big range, somewhere between $30 and $75. And when it ends up in sale for the verse, where you can actually buy it with creds, it's going to be under 100,000 UEC. I mean, the Cyclones are in the 50,000 range, and it's a smaller vehicle. It's industrial, so the price may push it up a little bit. I'm expecting it to be around 40 to 50,000 UEC. Maybe it creeps up. Maybe it's closer to 100 grand, but I don't think it's going to cross that threshold. So it just doesn't make sense for you to spend your hard-earned real money on this unless you actually want it before it's available, like in the ship shops. Sometimes ships aren't available for purchase in the game right away because they want to allow you to buy it with real money. Or they want you to buy it with real money. Or maybe mining is just your jam and you want to explore all aspects of the game. That decision is yours. I just wanted to share that thought, and obviously I do it every time, but the next time, when it actually goes for sale, I will have a proper should you buy video out. Regardless, new stuff is new stuff. And since we have the ability to test it and not a whole lot of people have it right now, I wanted to be able to share this feedback with you as soon as possible. But yeah, that's basically it for now. It's a prospector on wheels, more or less. But since you can't fly, you need a little more coordination. But if you have questions on any of this, please let me know. Consider supporting me on Patreon and gaining access to my Discord server and earning my referral rewards. And make sure you're staying tuned for a lot more 310 content coming your way soon. Appreciate you all watching. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and take care.